Hey everybody, and welcome to a new episode of Indie Film Cafe's Forgotten Horror Classics. I'm your old pal, the Moo Cow, and I am joined by...
Joe.
Yay, Joe. And together we are joined by...
Nostrum.
Yay, welcome back. Alright, and today we are going to do a movie from, I think it's Ireland, or at least it's an Anglo-Irish collaboration. From 2016, a movie that went under the radar. I heard good things about it, but I didn't get it until a couple years ago, and I loved it. I really, really loved it. I'm hoping you guys do too, and it is called...
Dark
Song.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, it looks creepy.
Have you guys ever heard of this?
Not everything can be forgiven.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
All right, so we will check out this movie, and we will be back after we hear some spooky music.
I'm scared.
Yay! Okay. So we are back, and a dark song. Had either of you guys heard about this movie before?
No.
Okay. Yeah, I had heard some buzz, but it was a foreign film. It was an independent film, so it's not like it popped into the theater over here. And a lot of people I had talked to had never heard of it, and so I dug around, and finally I was able to find a Blu-ray of it on Amazon, and I got it and I watched it. I really loved it. It's a good story, but the cinematography is amazing, and I really like the music to it as well. And I thought the acting was also really good. It's a kind of a creepy movie, but it's also got a kind of a positive thing at the end, But I want to hear what you guys think about it.
I noticed that, so it's Irish, right?
It's like a Irish/Welsh combo.
It said it was partly funded from the Irish lottery or something at the end.
Nice.
Oh, did it?
Yeah. I was watching the credits.
Yeah, that might be one of those things that they do in our, believe it or not, in other countries, they actually support the arts.
Yeah, well, apparently our lottery supports the schools, but we won't get into that.
No.
That's a little
supposedly.
bit of a bait and switch there.
Yeah, I thought the cinematography was amazing. The camera movements were very smooth. They definitely had skill with the cameras. I'll give them that.
Yeah, so many beautiful shots, like of the close-up when the flowers start growing up out of the floor, and like the candle flickering on her face while she's sleeping. Yeah, there was a lot of really good shots.
Guessing it was shot in Wales. I've been to Wales. I was in Cardiff, though, and Cardiff was more of a mining town, so I didn't get to see all of that.
It said at the end that it was actually shot on location in Ireland.
Okay.
So in the movie, she says that they're in Wales. But
yeah, they're
actually in
I
Ireland.
have been in Ireland many times, and Ireland is gorgeous.
Yeah.
There were like 3 legal services, Irish legal services listed at the end in the credits. I don't know why they would need legal.
All the dogs they tortured to get those sounds,
No, it said no
to get the growling sounds.
No animals harmed, is what it said.
No animals harmed. But that was the dog that they found when she was out walking before they got sealed in. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, that dead dog you saw at the beginning. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. But now they were on a different plane, so he was a demon dog at this point.
Pretty much. So can you sort of encapsulate what happens in this movie?
All right, let's start. A little synopsis. So this woman is trying to hire a man who knows some kind of a ritual that's going to help her talk to her dead son. And
well, that's not how she comes up first.
That's not what you're right. She says she wants to do this ritual
for love.
And he's like, yeah, whatever, and he turns her down, and she drives him back to London, and then finally they get talking, and she finally tells him, well, it's because my son died and it's my fault,
And I want to hear
and
his
I want to
voice.
hear his voice again. So he's like, okay, fine, I'll do it for that.
Because it's the ritual of Abramelin, which takes fucking months to go through, and it's a lot of sacrifice, a lot of shit.
Yeah.
And he's not going to do it because some, somebody's, oh my god, I'm in love with this guy and they won't turn me back. He's like, go to a dating website.
That's exactly what he told her. Yeah, go to a dating website or something. Yeah.
But he apparently also gets a benefit from doing this ritual as well.
Right,
Which is why
because-
he's going through the thing himself.
Right, he's like, it's not about the money, and it's true. It's that if she gets all the way through the ritual and gets to see her guardian angel at the end, he gets to have a request fulfilled as well as she. So that's why he's going.
Although you don't find out that what it is until later on.
Right, what he wants.
But
right.
this is what she starts off. So already she's being dishonest with him. So
Right.
you already know this is not going to end well.
Right.
So yeah, so she's finally confesses that yes, I have a son. He died. It's my fault. I want to hear his voice again. So he's hooked, and he's like, okay, let's do this. And so he goes back, and then they start to go through everything, and they've got to all go through ritualistic cleansings and spiritual cleansings, and he's kind of explaining all of the esoteric stuff behind everything, and it's a real ritual that was made in the 16th century by some guy.
And what's it called again?
The ritual of Abramelin, and he explained it apparently to a guy named Abraham in the 16th century, who wrote it all down and translated it from Hebrew. Although people who study books, because there are actual 16th century manuscripts of this, say that it actually was translated out of German from and before that from the Latin Vulgate. So they're not really sure exactly what the origins of it comes from, but it's got something to do with those magic circles, the Seder circles, where it's Seder, wrote dust, whatever, where it's the same thing backwards, forwards, all over the place. It's like a big thing in the Middle Ages that was all part of what the
A big
Kabbalah
old
was dealing with.
palindrome situation.
So he's all into all of that because he's a Gnostic. So he doesn't see the world through Catholic, Protestant, that kind of stuff. The Gnostics have a very different view of the universe. Actually, I think in their universe, God is a demon. And, yeah, a powerful demon, but a demon nonetheless. And, their quest is really knowledge. It's not so much going onto other planes. It's changing yourself through the acquisition of knowledge.
Yep.
So-
And he definitely says that's what he wants. Is he wants to know everything there is to know.
He wants to see the architecture behind the universe,
Right.
all the levers, all the stuff that really makes things move.
Yep.
So that's what he's there for. And so they're going through all this, and his personality starts to come out, because as soon as he's in charge, he starts to be a little bossy boots, and he's like treating her like shit. And she's got to take it because she agreed to do everything he told her.
Yeah, he missed his calling as a fascist dictator. Oh my gosh.
It took quite a while for me to change my opinion about where the movie was going. In the beginning, the filming seemed very normal, like it was like a film on I don't know, like shots from someone's phone camera, and it was just it was not really, but like the shot, the environment, and the character of the man was
Solomon.
Yeah, Solomon. It made him look like you really don't want to believe this guy. You don't want to trust him at first, and you're like,
He looks like a Denny's night manager or something.
Yeah. Why is she trusting this guy? And you're like, oh my gosh, he's just getting taken in and used because she's upset about her son or something. And you really don't think this guy is serious about what he's doing for a really long time. It took me a while.
See, it didn't take me that long because he was willing to walk away from the very, very beginning. He was not really interested.
Yeah.
Even with the money. So it wasn't really a thing for him. It wasn't until it became worthy in his eyes and then that was like, okay, this guy probably does
I made a
believe
couple of jokes about him, being like, I don't know, like just walking past the circle and being like, oh, it's okay if I do it, But I didn't actually really think that. Apparently, Nostrum over here did, but I really I believed him, and for the same reason, because he was willing to walk away until she was a little bit more honest.
Yeah, and that's just it.
Yeah.
You know, they both have their flaws. She is dishonest, not only with him, but she's dishonest with herself.
Yep.
And he is arrogant because he's been on this journey. He's a little bit more advanced than her, and he's just holding it over her whenever he gets the chance.
Yep.
I didn't think he was arrogant. I thought he was concerned.
Are you kidding? He
was a serious.
told her to shut up and do what I tell you, you cunt. That's not arrogant?
Yeah, because it's like she didn't understand the gravity of the situation. That they would be stuck inside of the circle of the house.
So he could have just explained to her the gravity of the situation instead of screaming obscenities at her. And he's like, and you'll do all the cooking and the cleaning and the washing and all. I'm not doing crap, you know? Like, come on, dude. He was enjoying himself a little bit there.
Yeah,
absolutely. Was. Not to mention the fact that he makes her strip so he can, whack off to her. And then he's like, oh, sorry, that wasn't part of the ritual.
No, but it wasn't just being creepy, though. I mean, you could tell there was a scene where he was chewing on it because he needs to get this done. He needs to get it done right. And he was getting obsessed with her physically, and he needed to have that.
But he could have told her that. He didn't. He manipulated her. He totally manipulated her.
Because, think about it. I mean, if he had said that to you, what are you going to say?
Well, I don't know. If I'm stuck in a house with him for 6 to 8 months and he's doing a ritual that'll make me see my dead son, I'd probably let him do just about anything.
Except, in the end, that's not really what she wanted.
We weren't supposed to get to that part yet. We haven't really done
We're
this.
getting to it.
Yeah, spoilers. Jeez.
So they start going through all of these rituals, and you start getting little hints that they're on the path. Like, they start hearing noises, they start seeing weird shit. But
it's subtle.
Yeah. She decides that she cannot do forgiveness, even though it's part of the ritual. She's like, you have to work around this. He's like, it's going to make shit extra hard. She's like, I don't care. Just do the workaround. And it turns out the workaround is a blood sacrifice, and she's got to drink his blood, which is freaking gross.
And a lot of it, too.
A good like 4 ounces or so.
Yeah.
And there was some kind of flashback thing there where she went back in time and had to do it again.
Yeah.
And there was a nice little hint that shit was... Yeah.
That something was happening, that something was working.
Right.
Yeah.
Drink it.
But...
Blood sacrifice, this is your choice.
Their disease is hepatitis. Can I do mine?
No! Drink it! Look, it's starting to congeal!
So they were dropping these little things in there, and then there were several times when you guys were like, especially with the knife.
Oh, yeah.
That was rough. But yeah, the blood drinking scene was hard. And so yeah, he's going through all this stuff, but they're getting little flashes, but they're not getting it to work, and they're both getting really frustrated and pissed off because this is taking months. Months. They start to lose track of time, and they can't leave. At one point she's like, I'm just out of here. And he's like, no, please don't. If you do, we'll be stuck here forever. Yeah. And he's not lying.
Nope.
He doesn't. The thing about him is he is an arrogant prick, but he's honest.
Yep.
He is honest the entire time and says exactly what's going to happen, and he's not kidding. She, on the other hand, is not a prick, but she's not honest, and then
right.
And that's the problem. That's the thing that leads to his downfall eventually. And he's kind of her victim. I mean, he does everything he's supposed to do.
It's her fault. It's 100% her fault.
Again.
Yes, it is.
So at some point she comes out and she's okay. Actually, what I really wanted is I want vengeance for whoever killed my son. So now she's changed her mind 3 times, right?
Right.
So first it was...
But explain why she wouldn't tell him.
It was love.
First it was love,
right.
and then it was I want to
my
talk
son
to
does.
talk
I
to
want
my
to talk
son,
to him.
And then it was vengeance.
Right.
So we're at 3 now.
But why wouldn't she tell him? Why wouldn't she tell him what she really wanted?
Oh yeah, it was great. She's like, I didn't think that you would do it. He's like, I don't care. I don't need you to be virtuous. I need you to be driven.
Yeah.
I need you to be honest.
I don't care. I want my own wish or whatever.
Well, so the reason is because the way her son died was he got abducted from the daycare center and sacrificed in some kind of weird ritual.
By some stupid teenagers.
Who didn't really know what they
around.
were doing.
Yeah.
And she was afraid that if she told him that she wanted vengeance on these people that were doing a ritual, that he wouldn't do it because he does rituals, right? And
you
that
did
he'd be
notice
offended.
he slipped in that one point. He's like, you don't think it was me, do you?
Yeah, exactly. Because Matt and I both said that. We were like, oh my gosh, what if he's the one that actually killed her son because he does these rituals? But no, it wasn't him. It was a bunch of teenagers.
That would be a pretty poor plan to get yourself sealed into a house with the guy that you're going to do, you know.
Well, for a split second, I thought maybe she knew it was him, and so she sealed herself in there on purpose so she could do something horrible to him. But then I realized, no, it wasn't him.
Mm-mm. No, it was just some freaking dumbass teenagers screwing around. And she's like, he's been forgotten.
Yeah.
So before we get to the end of the plot, I wanted to cover a couple scenes that I thought were predictable. Mm-hmm. Okay, it's just me. Like the thing with the bath where he's like, "Oh, I'm going to hold you under the water 3 times." I've seen that enough in horror movies. I knew he was just going to hold her under the water.
I had a feeling too when I first saw it.
Until she died.
Well, because she's already fucking perjured herself yet again, so she can't continue because she's got to be the pure vessel. So what else is he going to do but bring her to a point where she's has to be reborn?
Yeah.
Or, a couple scenes where they always do the thing. Oh, there's the scary monsters. Okay, now the camera looks away and I'm lighting my match again. Oh, now they're gone. So a couple things like that. It gets old if it's the same sort of thing over and over to me. I don't know.
I hear you.
Well, I don't watch as many movies as you, so I think it was still effective to me because I was like, oh, where'd they go?
It's like everything else. Everything has been done already. It's just the way that it's done.
Yeah.
And I thought the way they did it, especially with their cinematography, was quite good.
Oh, yeah.
So it didn't bother me.
The cinematography was good. Some of the ideas were similar to other movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, but a lot of them weren't. There were a few moments like that, maybe, but overall, I thought the plot was pretty darn unique.
Oh, the music also. I want to talk about that.
The music.
The music's so good.
It was really good. There was some good, I would call it electronic music.
There was some,
good strings too. A lot of low
the
strings.
The strings were...
Yeah.
Like cello.
So the cello, there was a lot of really weird note bending that I don't think was just... physical. I think there was some electronic manipulation of the tones too, because it was bending more than you could totally.
Well, and there was some scratching going on too.
And so some of those techniques are have been around for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of music written in the 50s and 60s that used that kind of technique on string instruments, and it's eerie. It just it's so eerie, the sounds that those instruments make.
It's like they're deadening the strings and just getting the screech part of it without getting the melody, without getting the actual tone or the note from it.
Yeah.
And that just it gets into my nerves, It's just it is very effective.
So that's one important part for these kinds of suspenseful, severely suspenseful movies where you're sitting there and you're waiting on some long drawn out plot where they're stuck in a house for months.
6 months.
It's very important to get the music to be ominous and really, emotional. And that's probably, that's a dark song, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe that's one of the reasons is that it's very attached to that music. I don't know.
It reminded me of... I'll have to play this for you sometime. Black Angels by George Crumb. You remember Black Angels? I played that for you before.
No, I don't remember.
Oh, they're doing a lot of those kinds of techniques and a lot of screaming in German. So
like a Pederecki kind of a thing.
Earlier than that. But yeah.
But you're right. You have to get the music right, and you have to get the lighting right. And I thought the lighting was really, really good. Did you notice the subtle change, maybe not so subtle change in the lighting when she finally does wake up that last morning and the lighting is all very, very different?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, normal lighting.
Oh,
The last scene.
Like natural light.
Yeah, natural light coming in from the window. Because she's back in the real world. And
yeah, I guess really that was how the cinematography changed that I was talking about like a couple minutes ago, where in the beginning the filming it looked different. Maybe just the lighting wasn't being...
So, like, at the beginning and the end, it bookends the film that way because she's actually back in the real world and not, like, in between these planes.
Where he has said, I'm going to go ahead and detach the house from our reality now.
Right,
And we're going to be in different realms.
Yeah.
And that's what the lighting is showing.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So the next scene after the plot we left was when he gets stabbed accidentally, I think, right?
Accidentally, with air quotes, because accidentally on her side, but yeah, he's saying this is her guardian angel getting back because she hurt her.
Because he killed her and brought her back to life, basically, and he knew that something was going to happen to him if he did that.
Yeah,
that's why
it's all
he was,
about repercussions.
That's why he was taking shots of whiskey before he did the drowning in the bathtub, because he was like, oh crap, I really got to do this, and he was trying to... it's like he couldn't do it sober. He just couldn't.
Yeah,
because he knew what was going to happen.
That's one of the things about this sort of magical thinking is that, you know, there's nothing that happens without a repercussion. You know, this happens, that means this happens. And
it's like a balance thing.
Yeah, it's a balance thing. So, yeah, it balanced itself in him, and it ended up, that's the thing that kills him.
Yeah.
Which is, it's kind of a shame. I mean, especially towards the end, like, you kind of feel sorry for him.
I feel really sorry for him the whole time because he's obviously seen some shit in his life and he's learned a lot, but he's not... It's cost him. It's cost him a lot, yeah.
So one thing I didn't understand, one plot point though, was after he got stabbed in the kitchen and she pulls a knife out and he suffers for, I guess, a couple... maybe a month or something like that.
Yeah.
And then gets sepsis and dies.
Right.
He tries to make some kind of comment and doesn't finish, and then he dies. And then she realizes he's dead. And she goes to look at the books, and they're all blacked out. Why? What was his?
I think that was the demons.
I'm not sure that was him either. Because at first I thought maybe it was him, and he was trying to get back at her and make sure she stayed trapped in the house forever. And then I thought, no, I don't think he would do that. I think the demons
Because remember at one point he says, you don't even need me. You can do this on your own.
Right.
And she was like, oh, no, I can't do this. Well, maybe he was not lying. Maybe she could. But they weren't going to give her the chance. They wanted to keep her.
Yeah, my interpretation was also that the demons did it, not him.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, and they've been fucking with her from the get-go.
Oh, yeah.
You know, you had the angels part where she was getting the flowers, or she'd get a little bit of light, or to get the golden stuff floating in her. Which was kind of nice, that sort of gold fabric or gold.
Yeah, it was almost like foil or something. Yeah. Like flecks of mica or something coming down from the sky.
And it was like really nice, you know. And then when the demons were there, you noticed it was black. It was like ashy black ugliness. You know?
And it was scratching on the floorboards and thumping, and then the demon that is talking with her son's voice, and my favorite line in the whole movie was, I'm just some cunt who's borrowed your son's voice to scare you.
The good thing is that she knew. You know, I don't know if it was intuition or instinct or something.
If she knew the whole time, she never got fooled by that. That was amazing.
Yeah. I mean, there is some part of her, I think, that's logically... Because I don't even know she bought the whole esoteric thing, even from the beginning. She might have said that, but then she's been lying to herself the whole time, too. So I think that's part of her grounded in regular sort of reality, not really buying all of this stuff.
So then why... So after she saw that the books were covered up, she decides, hey, I'm gonna leave this house.
Right.
It was like she suddenly changed her mind. I don't believe any of this stuff. And I'm going to walk out of the salt. I'm going to leave the circle. I don't get it.
I'm going to assume at that point, with her guide gone and her books gone, and she's already failed several times, that she's desperate. And she's like, I'm going to get the fuck out of here. And she just does what she can. She goes out to the car. She tries it. It's dead. Which would make sense in the real world because it's been sitting there, but as it turns out, it's more than that, and she has to walk, and she's walking and walking and walking and walking and walking, and she ends up going right back to where she's from.
Yeah, she goes around the corner, and suddenly the house is there, and she's like, well, screw. Because I think on some level, the whole time until the very end, she's questioning whether any of this is real.
Yeah.
You know, she's definitely questioning. And so, you know, you see her looking at the salt circle like, oh crap, should I do this? What's going to happen? She steps across it and she's like, huh, nothing happened. All right, I guess I'm cool.
I think that's...
and then she ends up back at the house again. She's like, nope, I'm not cool.
I think that's the final realization when she does all that walking and finally comes back to where she is, where Solomon's words yet again come true. He said, you're going to be stuck here forever unless you finish the ritual.
Yep.
And, I mean, she does, just not the way that any of them planned it.
Right.
You know? And that's kind of the cool thing. So what happens after she comes back to the house?
Well, the demons kind of drag her around the house.
Oh, shit, they do.
Yeah.
And him, too.
They start dragging the dead bodies.
Yeah, his dead
around.
body. They're dragging it all over the
They're
place.
fucking with her.
They love dragging the bodies. That's what they like.
Yep. And
That's what you do when you're a demon.
And then they take her and they tie her up in the basement and they break one of her fingers off.
Yeah, they get this giant bolt cutter thing and just...
They were giving her a manicure and a massage.
Shit.
Right.
That's what it looked like to me at first.
They just start torturing her. Yep.
And she breaks free and tries to run away, and they're all grabbing after her. Mm-hmm. And she's trying to get up the stairs, and there are all these nasty, ashy hands trying to pull her back.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, the light starts to come on, and there's the presence.
Yeah.
The presence.
And it makes all the demons shrink back into the basement.
Noticed that, did you?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
But before we get to the presence, though, or whatever, the good guy, the good angel, what did you think of the demons, though? What did you think of the effects, the costume?
I liked it. They were simple. To me, I thought they were very similar to the dog. They looked like regular people who died locally, and they were just stuck in this place.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't think of them as like monster, powerful demons. Just
a little bit. I thought I didn't like the. It kind of looked like they just had reflective stuff on that they shined a black light on. Kind of felt like
from
that.
a makeup point of view, they probably did.
Yeah, but I don't
Small
know.
independent film.
Yeah, but like the face makeup and stuff, I thought was fantastic.
Oh, yeah,
I liked that.
I agree with that. That's what I wanted to say, is that I thought that the
black light costume.
No, I wanted to say that I thought the face makeup was really well done.
There was some creepy stuff.
Compared to a lot of other zombie movies and demon things that I've seen, I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, one of them had like an armless baby. Like it was either a doll or it was a real baby. I couldn't tell. Like sort of on its belt, and there was some really creepy details.
Yeah.
If you looked really close.
And there was the old woman holding the little kid's hand, the same woman that she'd been seeing in her dreams.
Right.
Yep. So that was a nice touch.
Stuff is coming full circle.
Yeah, it was a nice touch. Yeah.
So she's going to be taken in by these demons. But at the last second, the presence happens, and she goes up the stairs into the room. And what does she end up seeing?
Like a Roman centurion.
I was going to say, it looks like freaking Achilles superimposed with Photoshop. I'm sorry. This part, you both, I think, disagreed with me on this, but I think the Guardian Angel is the hokiest looking thing. And like I said, it looks like they superimposed Achilles into a room and with backlighting, and they photoshopped it.
Really?
That's what it looked like to me.
To me, it's like an archon. You know, it's like a symbolic representation of what it's supposed to be, which is protection and strength and
I watched Aquaman like a couple days 2 days ago or something, and I tell you, this Guardian Angel we saw in this movie was better than some of those.
Oh, really? Okay.
Nice.
All right.
Nice.
We can agree to disagree on that, but
I can see how what you're reacting to.
I mean, he was almost like two-dimensional.
It just didn't bother me.
Oh, yeah.
Well, yeah, he is two-dimensional. I think that's part of the purpose.
It might be
because he's not quite
on
there.
the same plane.
On the same
right.
level,
Okay.
right.
Maybe that's all intentional, but it just kind of struck me as really hokey, and I didn't do it for me.
Didn't resonate with you. Okay.
Did not resonate.
Plus, the other thing I'm thinking is we're not seeing it through her eyes. We're seeing it through our eyes. And remember, she's like in a point of rapture at that point. She's saying how beautiful it is. And, she seems to instinctively know who this is and what she's supposed to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And then she asks her favor, and it turns out her favor is the thing she said all along that she didn't want. Well, that's not true.
Yep.
She doesn't do forgiveness. Yes, she does. That's what she's wanted the whole damn time.
She wants the ability to forgive.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're at 4 because we were at 3.
Right.
Well, here's the thing. So I'm wondering, was that really what she wanted the whole time? And she was lying to herself the whole time?
I think so.
Or was it something that she changed her mind on partway through? Or was she always intending to ask for that and just lying not just to herself but to him again?
I think she could not forgive herself for what happened. And so she went with vengeance
Okay.
until the very last moment when she realized the truth. Because you're faced with an angel. You can't
Right.
lie to an angel. Come on.
Watch me.
I don't think it was necessarily the ability to forgive the people that killed her son. I think it was forgiveness for herself.
Yes.
She wanted
Yeah.
to be able
Oh,
to-
yeah.
to
Yeah.
forgive herself.
Yes, this whole thing is a redemption story. Is the way I look at it.
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
now she sort of has to forgive herself for killing Solomon. Just
Yep.
gonna throw that out there. Poor
Yeah.
Solomon. I mean,
I hope
you know.
I don't know. I think she should have to go through another ritual to be able to get forgiveness from him.
on
I
the
think
other
she needs to
hand,
do this all again.
if he hadn't been such an arrogant dick about the whole thing, maybe he'd still be alive.
Yeah, because he kind of attacked her, and that's when he fell on the knife. You know, so I mean,
So
yeah.
he was a great actor. She was a great actress.
They
The
were
acting
great.
was
And
spectacular.
that's the other thing. I mean, this is basically a twofer. This is two actors in one space, and they have to play off of each other. All of the scenes, all of the emotions, everything, and it really, really worked. And you could see how their relationship changes during the course of the film, and how it ends up deepening. And you know, some parts it even looks like they're going to go even further apart. Like at one point where he's like, "You're just like me, maybe even worse." She's like, "I'm nothing like you." He's like, "Well, then why are you here?" And I think deep down she understands and she does know. Solomon is pretty wise. He's a lot wiser than I think she gives him credit for. You know, it's just that there is a price that comes with that wisdom, and you have to pay. So, is it better to have the knowledge and wisdom, and pay the price, or is it better to live in ignorance and not have to worry about stuff? It's easy to just go through the motions.
Ignorance, woo!
Ignorance is bliss.
So what do you think? So at the end, once she's forgiven or whatever, what's in her mind as she's driving away? Finally, her car starts. She's leaving. What are we supposed to expect is in her mind?
I think she's that the ritual's done, and that scene towards the end where she's letting the body go. I think that's symbolic of her letting the death of her son go.
Yeah.
She's been holding on to it, and finally it's gone. It's, you know, she lets it go and it bubbles like a subconscious thing, and it just sinks. And now she can move on with her life, and that's her moving on. And as a matter of fact, I liked that thing at the very last second where she's driving and then that car whizzes by. And she's like,
oh,
I'm back. Yeah,
in reality,
back
that
in
was
reality.
a good touch. I liked that too.
I like that.
Yeah, I liked that.
Yeah, she wasn't zoned out.
The whole thing was real after all.
I noticed that, before she left the house, if you remember, she took the sheets off the bed that were all gross.
Yeah.
So she cleaned up the house after all the
She did that to
ritual
wrap his
stuff.
body in so she could throw it in the pond.
Oh, I thought she was trying
And
to
of course,
save her deposit on the...
she has tangible proof that the whole thing is real too, because she's got this bloody stump
of a finger, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Because again, she had a price to pay for all of this too.
Yeah.
But at least she can move on. I mean, remember the very early parts of the story, where, I mean, obviously she's driven, she's ready to do crazy shit, she's seeing crazy shit. Then her sister finds her, and she's like, you know, you've been in the mental hospital and all this other stuff, and she's really worried for her. Whatever it is not working. It's not where she has to go through this in order to go on with her life. So it, to me, is a redemption story, and it's got a lot of esoteric stuff in there. It's got a lot of religion turned in there, but not like in a weird preachy way. It's more like medieval, real faith kind of religion. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of esotericness and that kind of thought intermingled. And that's kind of where that, the ritual of Abrahamlin, whatever it's called, comes from. It's sort of like a little bit of esoteric Kabbalah stuff, a little bit of faith, of different things other than just the traditional gods, So, yeah, it was really good, I thought.
So backing up just, or going up a level here for a second, do you think that the movie was meant to be interpreted as all these things are actually real, or that some of this story was actually just going on in their minds, and that all these magical occurrences are actually just metaphorical for them, going through self, what do you call it?
Self-actualization?
No, like hurting yourself in order to be able to forgive yourself or something.
Flagellation.
Flagellant?
Well, that's technically what it's called. Yeah.
Oh.
I don't think so.
In my opinion, I think it was real for her, and I think it was real for Solomon. But that doesn't necessarily make it real for us, because we're just watching it. And I don't know that the filmmaker's plan is to try to tell you demons are real or angels are real or anything is real. I think this is just the way that they chose to do the story.
Yeah, I don't think that the movie is trying to make a point that angels or demons or whatever are real, but were they actually real in the movie? Yeah. Yeah, I don't think that it's metaphorical.
Because I think the horror elements are there as dressing. I don't think that's the core of the film.
Not.
I don't think the film's point is to scare you. I think the film, it wants to do that too, but I think at the core, I think the movie wants to lift you up.
I was not scared when she was pulling the knife out of his stomach.
Oh, yeah, we all reacted to that one. But I think the movie wants to lift you up. It wants to tell you that redemption is there for all of us.
Okay, scariest scene. What do you think? Paul?
Scariest versus disturbing, because the knife was pretty damn disturbing.
Yeah, the knife for me. Not when he gets stabbed, when she's pulling it out.
Probably the first time for me originally was when that weird cigarette smoking ghost appears.
Oh yeah, that was kind of
and
that
there's
was
weird mumbling
on the chair,
on the chair,
on the leather chair. Yeah, that one was creepy.
That was pretty good.
Creepy because I can't think of any logical reason why something would do that other than just to be malevolent.
Yeah.
I think that was.
And then it was almost worse that nothing materialized. That she sees the chair, and the only evidence...
This ember that lights up every now and again.
Yeah, and the only evidence that there was anything there at all was that there's a lit cigarette, by the chair, but you never see a demon or anything, and it almost makes it worse that you don't see it.
But you certainly hear it. It's very, very creepy. That when I first saw it, I'm like, okay, I'm not looking at that chair.
I'm
glad we don't have a chair like that in our house, because I would have to cover it up with something for the next couple months. Probably.
That scared you too a little bit.
That scene was pretty good.
Yeah, we all definitely jumped with the knife, so that looked bad, especially when he's like, pull it out. And she's like slowly, and it's like, because that's gonna hurt.
And also the scenes with the son talking were pretty creepy, because right away that it's not him. And then right away that she knows it's not him, but it still keeps talking to her like that. Why?
Because it's malevolent.
Yes,
it's
exactly.
Evil.
It makes it worse. It makes it so much worse.
Okay. One more topic here. The artwork in terms of the satanic ritual artwork kind of stuff.
Oh, amazing. It was good.
The floorboard work.
Somebody went to extreme pains there. At one point I wondered if that was CGI, but no, it's not. They was all practical effects for the most part, and somebody had to go there and paint all that stuff, to draw all that stuff, all the stuff with the sand where they're doing intricate patterns and things. Gorgeous, some beautiful stuff there. I mean, I was looking at that floor thinking, man, I wish somebody would do that on my floor.
Yeah, no kidding.
Just as decoration, because it's cool as shit.
Yeah, it was.
I want 7 circles on my floor.
Yeah. I want all that weird, intricate filigree stuff that he was
Yeah,
doing. That's
that was
what I
cool.
want.
So, as someone who is more on the scientific end of the world, what did you think about this? Because it seemed like the movie had a few interesting things to say about science and what its limitations are, at least as far as Solomon was concerned.
They had one conversation about science
Yeah.
in there. I forget. Can you remind me what it
Well,
was?
she was asking about science and what he thought, and he said that science was a way to define the least amount of things, like the barest way to know something, and that religion and magic was a way to get to the essence of everything. You know,
To
whether we
figure out-
believe that or not is up to the individual.
To figure out what was what's
and
behind all of the other.
and I remember you said,
things.
"Is wouldn't that be nice?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I always would like to believe in metaphysical things, but unfortunately, I stand with empirical evidence.
Yeah.
The world would be so much more fun place if there were vampires
It
and
would
demons
It would be
and
great.
magic and all that. And it's just, you know,
It would give the universe more depth, at least.
It would be fun.
absolutely would. And here's the thing. All of that is us. All of that is us giving depth to the universe. So that's why, in the end, I love movies like this, even if they're kind of religious based, just because that's us trying to fill in the gaps as best we can. Because there's, even in today, we still don't know. We don't know everything. There's a lot we don't
Yeah.
know. There's more we don't know than we do. You know, even today. So we're
it's not like
the
this
same
was-
things like we were 25,000 years ago, painting hands and stuff on the walls.
Yeah, and it's not like it was more mystical than it was religious, because it's not like they were saying, oh, well, science doesn't know everything, just, you know, read the Bible or read the Quran and you'll know everything. No, it was, you have to fuck around with these rituals and see stuff for yourself to start to piece together what he called the architecture, you know?
Well,
And he was fully, you know, admitting that he didn't know a lot of stuff either, but the only way to find out was to, you know, fuck around and find out, right?
Yeah.
And he sure did find out, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Gnostics, I think their enlightenment state is called gnosis, which is Gnosis, right? Something like that.
Noki?
Yeah.
No, not Noki.
Yeah, they're the ones that do the urge and the demiurge and
Yeah.
Oh, I haven't even
Yeah,
read
yeah,
about
yeah.
them yet.
yeah, they're pretty fascinating. I
What
think-
didn't Elaine Pagels, that famous biblical scholar, didn't she write something called the Gnostic Gospels?
Possibly. I just know that the real Gnostics got all exterminated mostly in the Middle Ages because, of course, can't have that around.
Yeah. Stop thinking. Stop thinking.
Don't think.
There's a little bit of it involved with Eastern Orthodox Christianity, but yeah, and a little bit of what's the stuff that they had in Asia Minor, Zoroastrianism in there as well. But yeah, unfortunately, there's not a whole lot of modern Gnosticism out there.
But I guess my point is the intention of science is kind of along the same lines anyway. It's just, you know, we're trying to figure out what's beneath all the stuff that's
It
happening.
just takes a long time, and you gotta fuck around and find out.
Well, and then it's interesting because there are mathematical things that you can do. Things like the Fibonacci sequence. I love that. That's one of my favorite things. You go back, and it turns out that that's something that was used in Kabbalah, you know, to describe things. Well, they knew those formulas, or they had an idea for that formula. They just didn't know what they were applying it to was the wrong thing. You know, but they see that the Fibonacci sequence is something that repeats in nature.
yeah, they saw a pattern.
The
They were trying to
spiral.
make it, you know, they were trying to apply it to things.
I thought that's the golden ratio,
Yeah, and golden ratio.
not
yeah.
the Fibonacci sequence.
Fibonacci isn't that the spiral thing?
Huh? No.
No, the golden-
Fibonacci is you add the sum of the number before it, and that's the next one in the sequence.
Right, which makes the spiral pattern.
No,
right?
the golden ratio is the one that does
Uh,
the spiral
the
thing
golden ratio
with the Da
does-
Vinci human form.
Okay, yeah, because the golden ratio has been, well, that was used in Greek architecture, you know, so.
Sure.
Getting too technical here. Anyway,
Anyway.
Yeah, so I don't know. I think it seems like the goal of Solomon here, at least, it's very similar to the scientific method, except he's like, I got to go out and experiment. That was his goal.
Have you
Yeah.
seen Darren Aronofsky's first film, Pi?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's a little bit of that. There's that connection of mathematics and esoteric religion that I find fascinating.
That was a cool movie.
That was a great movie. I love that movie. There's a little bit of that in this.
Is he related to this? What is this?
Just the way the Kabbalah uses the golden ratio, and
Yeah.
Aleister Crowley jumped into all of that later on in like the early 20th century. A lot of people think he was a quack.
Remind
Maybe
me
he
again
was.
who he was, because I know the name.
Yeah, he wrote
was he
a bunch.
famous
He's
for?
like the Golden Dawn, and he wrote a whole bunch of new witchcraft stuff that a lot of the modern Satanists.
Oh,
Yeah,
no, it's modern witchcraft is based on
yeah.
him. Okay, yeah, right.
So yeah,
Yeah, I knew that name.
so yeah. There's a lot of interesting stuff, and like I said, if you go back and look at the rite of Abram Ellen, like I said, it is an actual rite that it takes months and months and
The
months
real
to do.
people spent 6 months of their life doing.
Where was it?
I bet they
recorded?
didn't have these kind of results.
What book is it? Which book is it in?
Its own book. There's several museums that have.
And they probably
copies of it.
found many copies of it in multiple places in multiple
They
languages.
did.
Yeah.
They did.
It's a
Yeah.
whole book. That's probably why it took him like 6 months to get through it.
Sure.
Well, it took them that because they had to repeat so much of it. Because she's a liar.
Well, that's part of it. But even if she had been honest,
He said so it's a sequence, and sometimes you have
cycle, and you have to
Yeah,
keep
a cycle,
going through,
thank you.
and keep
Yeah.
going through.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's again these people look at these things like there's shortcuts, but it turns out they're not. There is no shortcut.
So there, I was mentioning because she's in this house that she can't leave, and she's performing all these weird rituals that are very punishing to her physically. There was a book that was published in like 2022, I think, or maybe 21. Pretty recently. It was called The Death of Jane Lawrence. If anybody likes this movie, go out and read that book too. It's even creepier than this.
Nice.
God, is it creepy.
I'll have to check that out.
It's like the most gothic thing I have ever read in my life. Like, you think like Rebecca and Jane Eyre are gothic. Oh my gosh, this is crazy. It's so over the top gothic. It's almost too much.
You mentioned another book too when we were sitting down there watching the film. Which
No,
one
that's
is
the
that?
one.
That's the one?
I think I misnamed it. I think I called it The Death of Jane Doe.
Yeah, that's what it was.
But I think I was confusing that with the Autopsy of Jane Doe movie.
Okay.
No. Death of Jane Lawrence, I believe it was called. And I cannot remember the author right now, but it was fantastic.
I have one more weird science comment. Is at some point when she had to drink the blood of Solomon, and she brought up, she was like, "Wait, what about hepatitis?
Right.
Do you have hepatitis? You sure? You don't have any blood diseases?" And it's like, lady, you're doing a ritual sacrifice thing with witchcraft.
You're beyond that kind of concern at this point. I mean, if you don't do this, you can never leave this house and you're going to get ripped apart by demons. Drink the blood. Just suck it up and drink the blood.
And in some ways, I wonder if that was the universe punishing her by making her do it twice.
Twice, yes. It's like, this is what whiny little bitches get.
The one part they left out of the story is, as she's driving away, turns out she had a hepatitis now.
See?
This is going to be Dark Song 2.
The refrain.
The refrain, yeah, where she is getting, I don't know, what's the treatment for hepatitis? She's getting, immunity boosting
Hep
drugs.
C? I don't know. You lose your liver, you get jaundice, and you die.
Yeah, okay, so it's Dark Song 2, the liver transplant.
Yeah, there you go. Jeez. Yeah, there's not much you can do about that. Yeah, at some point, you got to bite the bullet and just do what you...
And just drink the hepatitis blood.
Drink the blood.
Yeah.
Well, and in a way, if she's poisoned him already.
Well, yeah, she gave him sepsis.
Well, and she gave him urine.
Oh, that's right.
She did. About that.
She got mad the day after he whacked off to her, and she peed in a cup and then poured it in the soup and then said, "I'm not hungry. Eat some extra for me."
Well, and then that's why when I first saw the film, the whole thing with the actual real truth was more of a shock to me, because I thought that was the real thing, that she wanted her vengeance, because that seemed like a very vengeful thing to do. So it seemed in character for her to want her so petty little revenge by peeing in his soup.
Right.
You know what I mean? So when the first time I saw it, when she finally comes out and says, "No, forgiveness, and this is really what I want."
Yeah.
I didn't expect it. I don't know if you guys did, but
No, I totally didn't expect it. I mean, I kind of expected that she would change her mind when she got up there, because it did just the look on her face and her whole demeanor had changed, and it did not look like she was going to say, "I want vengeance." No, but I didn't think she was going to ask forgiveness. But it made total sense because it brought back that other conversation so quickly. But
it's a bad thing, but I can't help but confess that there's a part of me that saw Homer Simpson in her instead and asked for a hot dog or a piece of 1,000 cookies.
For a second, I thought she was going to ask for Solomon to be resurrected or something. I thought maybe she'd ask for him to
Or
not
just
be
peace
dead.
of mind,
Yeah.
But it's part of her redemption story that she has to forgive herself.
Yeah.
Has to.
I had one more weird comment about the
You said that one more weird
I know,
comment ago.
I do
It's
that.
okay.
I do this a lot.
Make as many as you want.
When you guys are talking, I keep getting more ideas. So, when she's walking up the steps and the demons are dragging her back and all that stuff, and they got a hold on her, and but the light, the bright light from the guardian angel doesn't actually come out until she says, "I'm sorry."
It's true.
She says, "I'm sorry," and then she keeps saying that, and that's when the light gets brighter. So it makes me feel like somehow they've made that dependent, that she has to realize something and apologize before this guardian angel is going to show up.
And it has to mean it, because she said it before.
Yeah.
But this time it feels more like she
Genuine,
really means it.
yeah.
Well, what is she apologizing for?
Everything.
Pretty much everything.
Yeah, like how everything in the ritual is gone, the fact that Solomon's dead, the fact that she left her son, alone
Possibly
at the
because
day.
she lost her faith too. Possibly.
Yeah. Sorry for all the things she's done in her life that were bad.
Because there's that other undercurrent too that's part of her character, where she's clearly, she says she's Catholic, but that was in the past, and where was God when my son was murdered?
Right.
She definitely has a bone to pick with God, and now she's going this back route to try to get what she wants. Mm-hmm. But she's sorry for that too. She's sorry she had to go through all of this.
Yeah.
We're all, ultimately sorry for the redemption we're all seeking for. Mm-hmm. That's part of our redemption. You have to forgive yourself and you have to be sorry.
I don't.
Well, that's because you're the great Nostrum.
That's right.
Yeah. That's why you have so many solid relationships in your life.
The wisdom of Solomon.
Thank you.
But you don't pee in his soup, do you?
Kitty forgives you.
I pee in my soup, yes.
And Kitty poops on the floor. That's why you need to repent, and then she'll stop pooping on the floor.
Okay.
Yes.
Did any of the religious parts kind of bug you?
No. It was mostly a secular film.
Oh, yeah.
To me, it added depth to it.
It was, like I said, mystical, not religious.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, and in the Bible it says this, and this will happen. No.
Yeah, it's not it's nothing like that at all.
No.
But it adds a lot of depth to it because this is the way human beings are. Mm-hmm. And it was done with sort of a level of beauty and grace. And
but I don't think if you were religious that this film would offend you. I
shouldn't think so.
I mean, unless you're just like really anxious to be offended by things, which so many people are these days.
This is how I always explain it when I have somebody who believes in God ask me, well, what happens if you meet an evil monster, a vampire or something? Aren't you going to believe then? And aren't you going to feel sorry? I'm like, well, I'm not going to feel sorry. I'm going to kind of be glad because now you've just convinced me of something that you know, I've always wondered about. Now I know for certain.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's not necessarily a bad thing. That's a good thing. You know, it just took this event to actually convince me rather than you telling me over and
Oh
over.
yeah, yeah. Like if you showed me some like concrete evidence of like a benevolent God who loves us and cares about us, I'd be ecstatic about that. That'd be awesome.
What if we showed you a giant Roman centurion that looked like he was photoshopped?
I wouldn't respond.
But that's the thing about
I'd be underwhelmed
the thing about belief is that you believe even though there's no
with the app. Yeah,
evidence.
right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah. That's
Yeah, I'm well aware.
and that's the bridge I can't cross.
Yeah, me too. But yeah, it's yeah, I wouldn't feel, you know, sorry that I didn't believe my whole life. I'd be like, oh look, evidence. That's awesome.
And you know, the other people who can make that's great. I love it. I think it's good. I think it's absolutely perfectly fine as long as they're not trying to make me do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you cross that bridge, that's great. I'll wave at you at the other side. Just don't try to drag me over there.
Yeah.
If I get there, I'll get there on my own. Mm-hmm. You know? So that's how I look at it. So I think that's kind of how the movie sort of sets itself up. You know?
Yeah, because she gets there on her own.
She gets there on her
Yep,
own.
absolutely.
You know, it's just...
he yelled at her. a
Well,
lot.
he does, yes.
Yeah, but he told her also from the beginning, you can do this on your own. You can.
He was up straight with her from the very beginning.
But the reason he was in on it is because she was the conduit, and he knew that. And if he guided her, he might be able to, you know, be along for the ride and get something for himself.
Right, and if she's a tainted conduit, he's not going to get what he needs.
Well, he certainly got something out of it. Sepsis.
Yay.
Oh, did we comment? Did Solomon actually get his desserts?
I don't
when
think
he
so.
requested? Do you
No.
feel like?
I don't think so. I kind of feel bad for him. He almost feels like a sacrifice.
I think he was an absolute sacrifice. Yeah. Yep.
Okay. I thought
Yeah, I
you
don't
said
think-
earlier. I thought you said when he got killed, like somehow that was him
Getting a little bit of justice
I
because
thought that's what you said.
He
getting a
wanted-
little bit of disappearing.
he wanted to disappear, and
Yeah.
he does.
Yeah, but I immediately countered that because he said, I want some invisibility before the howl.
Yeah,
and the howl is death.
he really wants
He did
peace,
not get that.
is what he
did
wants.
not get anything. He just went straight to the howl.
Yeah.
And it reminds me of, did you ever read that, Roberto Boiano, remember him? He was a South American author, and he wrote a great book called By Night in Chile, and it's all about this priest who's dying, basically, and the last line of the book is right before he dies, and he says, and then the storm of shit begins. And that reminded me so much of what this guy said. He's like, I want some peace before the howl.
Oh yeah, his death is not happy. You know,
No.
he's babbling, he's crying, he misses his sister.
Yeah.
You know, he's
Yeah.
trying to convince himself that he's still strong, and he's clearly not.
And he's like, demons are afraid of me, dude.
Yeah,
and
no.
he's trying to be brave.
Ozymandias.
And
And the
what
great powerful Ozymandias.
how would you finish his last sentence when he said, "I'm what?
He was
What
gonna
is
say,
he?
I'm dying.
I'm dying."
I'm pretty sure.
I think he would use his language. I think he would say, "I'm fucked."
Oh
You
well,
think he would
something
say,
like
"I'm
that.
fucked"?
Yeah.
Okay. And what do I think?
Yeah, he did not get what he wanted.
I'm happy.
He went out
That
of the
he's
world
dying?
whimpering.
I'm sorry.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I'm tired.
I'm tired. Yeah.
I'm sick.
But like most of us, we don't get to finish. You
Our
know,
last sentence.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah.
Yep.
Very few of us do. So
Yep.
enjoy the ride while you got it, and
That's
you might as
right.
well be honest. You know.
That's right.
That's the one lesson I learned from all of this with this redemption thing. Just be honest. You know.
Everything I've learned in life, I learned from a horror movie.
There you go. As it should be. All right. Any other comments about anything before we wrap this show up?
Ignorance! Woo!
We ate some shortbread, strawberry shortcake.
We did. It was
Okay,
delicious.
Yeah.
and it was good.
It was very, very good.
Yes.
So I just want to point out that this was written and directed by Liam Gavin, and I quite want to see more of his work because he looks like he's got quite a lot of talent, He is kind of like, reminds me a little bit of Robert Eggers, one of my favorite
The Witch.
current director, right? The Blu-ray that I got this from IFC, has all kinds of special features. It's got interviews with the two main leads and with the writer and director as well, and also the cinematographer. So he talks a little bit about, you know, how and why he shot things and lit things the way they are.
That's cool.
They all talk about their different favorite films, and it's funny because the guy who plays Solomon, actually no, I think it was a cinematographer. One of them comes out and says, "I don't really like horror movies, but my favorite is definitely The Shining." And I'm like, cha-ching! I knew it, which is my favorite. So that was kind of
Good
cool.
one.
But and it comes with like there's some deleted scenes and there's storyboards which are pretty interesting, and there's like a trailer and stuff. But you can definitely go to Amazon.com and pick it up. It's called A Dark Song, and yeah, you read the tagline. It said, "Not everything can be forgiven," but in her case, it finally happened. So there you go. Well, thank you both very much for coming on the show.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm glad you guys liked it, and hopefully you guys will come back for another one.
Yeah. Let's do it.
All right, sounds good. Well, thanks you all very much for joining us, and we will see you next time on Forgotten Horror Classics. Bye.
Bye.